Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Lightning Web Components. Today we are going to talk about navigation services that we have in LWC. So while working on an LWC component, you would definitely come across a situation wherein you would want your control to be navigated to different places, such as it could be Lightning app page, or it could be a record page, or it could be just another website, right? A web page, which is like, wherein the URL is actually not for Salesforce, but like, some other website. So in such cases, rather than simply like, ingesting the URL in your code, you can use the navigation services that we have in LWC. And the first step in order to use the navigation service is you would have to import a module called NavigationMixin from this particular library, lightning/navigation. And once you have imported that module basically gives you the flexibility of using all its methods, right? So this particular module, NavigationMixin, has a method called navigate that which you can use. So while using that navigate function, you would have to just define few things. For example, like, what kind of page type it is where you want your control to be navigated to, and what are its attributes. Attributes basically defines that what kind of page it is, like, either it is a record page, or it is a web page, or it could be a lightning tab page, right? So that kind of information you have to provide in the attributes. And then there is another thing which is like, state of the page. So like, what should basically happen after you navigate your control over there, so that those information you can provide in the state part of the function, navigate function. All right. So let's just go ahead and see that, like, how we can implement this functionality. Before moving on to LWC component, these are the things that we are going to cover. So we'll see that how to navigate to a lightning tab page. Then moving forward, we'll see how to navigate to a object page. Then we'll check how to navigate to different list view of an object. And then we'll see, like, let's say if you want to just like, on a click of button, if you want to open a pop-up which will basically show a record creation page for any object, then we'll see how that can be done. And along with that we'll also see that like, how you can basically navigate to a record page in view mode, or if you want to open that page in edit mode, that also we'll see. And then at last we'll see that how to navigate to a website, or let's say like, a specific URL. And then we'll see how you can navigate to a file document. All right. So I'll move to my VS Code, and so that we can get started. So I will just go ahead and create a LWC component first. All right. So I'm moving ahead, and I'm just going to create a button in my template file, and using that button, we'll keep on navigating for different examples that we are going to do. All right. So here I will give the label name as navigate, and let's just give a variant as brand. I want my button to look like in, like, in blue color, so I'm giving the brand variant. And then let's just give on click. Here I'm going to define a function. So handle, not define, like call a function handle button click, something like that. Okay. And then let's just copy this method name and go to JS file. Okay. Here I'll just keep my function first. This is my function. So here, as we discussed, I first have to import NavigationMixin module. Okay. So NavigationMixin from Lightning navigation. All right. So okay, and once we have imported this module, I have to encapsulate Lightning element extension with this module. Okay, otherwise your navigation will not work. So this is the second step that you would have to do. Now here you can start using the navigate method, and in order to use the navigate method, you have to start something with this. So navigate. So let's just copy this NavigationMixin dot navigate. This is the method that we have to use. Okay. And this takes everything in the object form. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna, okay. So the first example that we saw, right, going back to the PPT, I want to start with navigating to a Lightning tab page. Okay. So let me go to the org and show you where I want to navigate. So here, okay, I have created a Lightning tab page, okay, called LWC. So let me show you that first. So this is the page. Okay. So I will keep this button that I've created, the button that I've created. I'm going to keep this button on my home page. And when I click on that button, then I should be navigated to this Lightning tab page. And when I talk about tab page, I'm not talking about normal object, like, object tabs, for example, these are object tabs, right? I'm talking specifically about Lightning tab page. Okay. So this is the requirement, and I'll go back here to the JS file. And let's just start with the type first. Okay, the type, I want the type to be, in order to, once again, underscore underscore. So in order to navigate to a Lightning tab page, this is what you have to use in the type. Okay, standard underscore underscore nav item page. Okay, and once we have the type, we have to pass the attributes. Attributes you would be passing in form of object. Okay, so here I will be passing the attribute, and in attribute, I have to give the API name. And the API name, what API name would I be giving? I would be giving the API name of the Lightning tab page. Okay, so let's just go and find out the API name. So let me go to tabs, all right. And under tabs, I will move to the Lightning tab pages. These are custom. This one, Lightning page tabs. When I click my, okay, so from here I can get the API name. So this is the API name. The tab name is the API name over here. I'll just go ahead and type the API name. Okay. And this is done. So I have imported the module. I have encapsulated the Lightning element extension. I've called my method over here. Under that, I am calling this navigate method of this module. And here I'm passing the type and the attributes. Okay. So let me just go ahead and deploy this component. But before that, I will just complete my meta XML file. Now let's just deploy this. Let's just go ahead and include this in my, I'll include this in my homepage, navigation service demo. Let me just put it here. Yeah. Now let's just go to the home page. And here you can see the button. Let me first once just refresh this. Now, when I click on that button, I should be navigating to that LWC Lightning tab page that I've created. Okay. Here. So you can see that how I got navigated to the Lightning tab page. All right. Now let's see how we can navigate to a object page. Okay. And what is the object page? Let's say I want to navigate to account object page. So if I click on account, this page is the account object homepage, right? So let's say I want to navigate to the account object homepage. So let's just go ahead and make some changes over here. So in order to navigate to a object page, you first have to change the type, because this is not the navigation item page now. This is object page. Okay. So for that, I have something as, it has something as standard underscore underscore object page. Okay. So I'm just going to change this to object page. That is the first change that we would have to do. And here, rather than API name, you would have to give it as object API name. Okay. And here you have to pass one more. And here I want to navigate to the account object page, right? So I will give it as account, the API name of the object. And in my case, the API name of the object is account, right? here I have to just pass one more thing, one more attribute called action name. So here you have to define that on that particular object page, where do you want to land? I want to land on the home of that object page. Okay, so here I would be giving it as home, right? Home as in, like, the first thing that you see when you actually click on that object page. Let's say, for example, in case of accounts, right? Sorry, contacts. If I click on this is nothing but the object home page, right? So similarly for account home page, I have passed the action name as home. Okay, I'll save it. And let's just go ahead and deploy this. I'll go to the home page and empty cache and hard reload. Now, if I click on the button, I should be navigated to the account object home page, right? So if I click on this, here you can see this is what I got navigated to, right? In the previous case, we were getting navigated to the LWC Lightning app page because that is what we had configured. But in this case, object home page. Okay, now let's say under this page you want to specifically navigate to a list view. For example, if I open all accounts, in the URL you can see the filter name is getting changed, right? So for all accounts, this is the ID where we want to navigate to, right? So that when I click the navigate button on my home page, when it navigates me to account object page, then it should, by default, it should open all accounts list view rather than the recent list view. Okay, so for that, let's just go and make some changes. So here, first of all, because I want to navigate to a list view, right? So what I will do, I will change this to list because I don't want to navigate to the home page anymore of the account object. So the first change I did was change the action name. And here you have to pass one more thing, because now you would have to, somewhere you have to define, right, that which list view you are going to navigate to. So this, because it can have multiple list view, right? It has. So here you just need to copy the filter name, go back to the component. Here I will be defining state, and state also you have to define in form of object. Here I will just pass the filter name, and this is the ID that I have copied. Okay, let's just save this, and everything else remains same. Okay, I'll just deploy this. Okay, let's just go to home page. So I'm not sure but if you don't know about this, and if you're wondering that why I'm like, every time I'm clearing the cache and hard reloading, is because every time you make a change to your LWC JS file, right, you have to clear the cache, otherwise you might still see the previous changes. Okay, so now if I click on navigate, I should be navigating to account object page, and it should, by default, it should open all accounts list view rather than the recent items. Okay, so let's just click on navigate, and you can see that it opened all accounts for me, right? So here, if I change my filter name to recent, it should navigate me to the recent list view. Okay. So here it is, right? Because I use the filter name recent. All right. So now, moving on to the next item that we have in the list. Okay, let's just try to, what I want to do is, if I click on this navigate button, right, then a pop-up should open, and that pop-up should be the account record creation page. Okay, so for example, if I go to accounts and if I click on new, this is account creation page, right? So this is what I want to see when I click on this button. Okay, So let's just go ahead and make the changes. So in order to do that, first of all, we don't need the state. Okay. So I will remove this. And in action name, I will just type in as new because I want to open a record creation page. So for that, you just have to use this term new. Okay. And this is the object API name. I want to open the record creation page for account. Okay. So this is, it's really easy, right? This is all, these are the minor changes that you have to do. Okay. So I will just go ahead and deploy this. Now just go and check. So you can see that the account record creation page got opened, right? If you fill in some details, if you click on save, a record will be created. Okay. Now moving on, let's just go ahead and try to open a record page. So for example, now in this one, let's say I have this account and for example, this one, Burlington Textiles. Okay. So here, what I want to do is the moment I click on that navigate button, this account should get opened. Okay. This record page should get opened. So what I would have to do is first of all, I would be needing the record ID. Okay. So I will just go ahead and copy the record ID from here. And let's just go back to the component and make the changes. Okay. So first of all, here, what you have to do is you have to make this record page now. Because we want to open a record page. Okay. And in attributes, you have to pass the record ID. Okay. So the first thing that we have to pass is the record ID, and object API name remains the same. And here, what I want to do is I want to open the record in view mode. So I will just type this. Okay, sorry, not equals to, but colon. All right. So we change the type because I want to open a record page. I have given the record ID, the record that I want to open, and the object API name is account for that. And the action name is view because I want to open this particular record in view mode. Okay. Let's go to the home page. And when I click on this, that Burlington Textiles account should get open. Okay. So here it is. Okay. And let's say if I click on that button and I want to open this particular record in edit mode, then what will I do? I'll just go here and simply change this to edit. Deploy. I will just open this in another window so we don't have to do this again and again. Right. So when I click on this, that Burlington Textiles account should get open and in the edit mode. Okay. When I click on this, see, this is the account, right? And it got open in edit mode. Everything is in editable format, right? So this was about opening a Lightning tab page, opening a object homepage, like an object page, then opening an object record page in view form and then in edit form. All right. Now moving on, let's just go and check. Let's say if you want to navigate to some other website, right? So what will you do? For example, I just want to navigate to google.com. Okay. Not like this. Here, right? So the moment I click on that button, that it should navigate me to this page. Okay. So what will I do? I will first copy this URL. Okay. And let's just go back to the component here. the type changes again, okay, because now this is a web page that you will try to open. Okay, so here I'm going to change it to web page. Okay, this is the first change. And then in attributes, all I have to pass is URL, and that's it. So here let's just replace it with URL, and I'll remove these two properties, and here I will pass the URL. Okay, and that's it, web page and this URL. Let me close this first, and then if I click on navigate, then I should be navigated to this URL. All right, and see, it opened this URL, right? Now going back to the list, we have we'll see how to navigate to a file document. Okay, for this I first have to check if I have anything under my files. Let me just see. I do have, right? For example, this logo. So let me just open this and check the view file details, because I would need the ID. Okay, so this is the document ID. I'll copy this and go back to the component. So here I would have to give the page name as, so here in page name you have to basically change it to file preview, and in type you have to change it to named page. Okay, named page. So this is the first change that you would be making. In URL we need to remove the URL and we have to give the page name, and here I'll be passing the ID of that document that I just copied. Okay, so this is the ID. Okay, and then also, no, sorry, page name. In page name we need to give file preview, right? Because that is the state, how we want to see the file. So preview, and the IDs, because the IDs we pass in the state, right? So we'll create the state object here, and here I'm going to pass the record IDs, and here you can pass multiple IDs, so that is why the name is record IDs, what I'm passing. And let me just go ahead and copy the document ID again. Okay, and here it is. Okay, and here you can also basically pass multiple IDs if you want to, on the same, when you click on the button and you want to display multiple document files, right? So you can just put a comma and you can pass other IDs, and everything will come in sequence. So for now I'm just passing one. And also there's one more thing, you can also pass other attribute called selected record ID. Okay, and here let's say I have, let me just go and create another file. Okay, so and upload files. Let me see if I have anything. For example, this file. Let me just save this. Okay, now I have two files. So I'll just go to the file details and I will be copying the ID. And here I'm passing the second ID. Okay. And in selected record ID, you can pass any of these IDs which you want basically to be defaulted, which should be opening first by default. So you can pass any ID over here, whichever you want. And what's wrong with this? Let me try to deploy this and get to know. Okay, here we need this. Okay, let's go to the home page and clear the cache. So now when I click on navigate, I should be seeing those file documents, right? the 2 documents that I have provided the IDs for. So page review, right? This was the first file document ID that I had passed, right? And here is the there is no preview. Could be because of the kind of file that I've loaded. I think that was a class file, right? This one. So that is why there's no preview available. But if you are open, like, uploading anything else, that should basically, like, come here. Okay. So this was all about navigation services in LWC. So you just need to remember, like, the main points, as in, like, you have to import this particular module, NavigationMixin, from this library, lightning/navigation. And once you import this module, you have to encapsulate your lightning element in NavigationMixin. Once you encapsulate that, you have to use this method of, like, a NavigationMixin module. And this is the syntax how you can use this method. And when you're using the method, there are basically 3 things that you have to pass: the type of the page that you want to navigate to, the attributes, and the state. All right. So this was all about navigation services. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, bye-bye.